A lot of the games that I look at for in case you missed it are games that have a ton of great ideas but end up falling flat for some reason or another. Valiant efforts on the part of their developers that, as a whole, aren't the best games, so they often get ignored in favor of the highly polished games that end up on people's yearly top 10 lists. Remember Me is very solidly one of those games, a game that was very quickly forgotten after its release, if people even paid attention at all. A brave first effort by Dontnod Entertainment, a developer now known for the Life is Strange episodic adventure game series. But unlike Life is Strange, Remember Me is solidly an action title, but you can still definitely see the lineage. Remember Me is set in the relatively distant future of 2084, and its vision of that future is an extremely slick one, with countless layers of grime beneath the utopian veneer, you know, how dystopic fiction tends to work. Set in Neo-Paris, a reformed and rebuilt version of Paris, this future involves a lot of augmented reality, integrated into the game's environment seamlessly. But more importantly to the plot, it involves the commoditization of memories. Through the use of the fictional Sensen device, citizens of Neo-Paris can sell their memories, buy the memories of others, or exchange memories as part of a sort of bonding process between two people. Of course, because this is dystopic fiction, a single corporation controls this technology and therefore the world, allowing them to exercise their will with zero oversight. And since this is a video game, you play a protagonist who is amnesic but holds the power to save the world. In this specific case, your protagonist holds the power to remix memories. That is, to modify people's memories of events in order to change what they think about something that's going on in the present. A sort of live in-action butterfly effect. This is probably the most well-executed concept that Remember Me has. As you modify things in the person's memory, you get to watch the changes it causes take place, until you find the right combination of things to change in order to achieve the desired end result. Although triggering events that cause something else to happen entirely can often be just as fun. While memory remixing is the most solidly implemented concept in Remember Me, I would argue it's not the most intriguing from the standpoint of possibility. This game uses a relatively standard Arkham-esque melee combat system, but the twist it introduces is fascinating. Instead of your combo's effects being predefined, you get to design your own. As things move along, you get effects like damage dealing or healing assigned to button presses. The game calls pressins. You can then assign these pressins to one of your unlocked combos. Want a 3-button X combo that only does damage? Great, but since there's only 3 pressins in the combo, each individual one will be less effective. But put those same pressins in the latter part of a longer combo, and they'll be more impactful. But you have to get to the end of that combo. This system meant I was constantly mixing things up in order to adapt to boss fights and different kinds of enemies, which is great, but the problem is that the combat itself is not. There are no counters, meaning the only thing you can do to avoid strikes is dodging, and this, in combination with an absolutely awful camera, makes what is a fascinating concept into a rather annoying and tedious reality. But the disappointment goes beyond the combat system. Despite a rather interesting world, the story is far too generic and predictable, filled with awful dialogue and performances. The jumping puzzles a la Uncharted that chain together the combat sequences are extremely awkward, and I found myself dying to stupid jumps constantly for no reason other than the camera or a failure of the game to attach me to a ledge. But there's still something here. The game tries enough interesting and innovative things that I wanted to keep playing, even if it regularly fails to meet its ambitions. To me, it feels like the first Assassin's Creed. Extremely ambitious in all the right ways, but ultimately flawed. But Assassin's Creed got the chance at a sequel. And while Remember Me never did, its developer got a second chance in the form of Life is Strange, and, according to reports, would love to make a sequel to Remember Me, if only Capcom, the rights holder, would give them the go-ahead. But since that sequel seems rather unlikely to happen anytime in the near future, I would strongly encourage everybody to seek this game out and just think about what could have been, what a more perfected version of this game could have been. And it's pretty easy to get a hold of this game as well. Thanks to the fact it sold so poorly, it's very cheap to pick up on the used market, and you can easily find it for under $10 for either 360 or PS3. If you want the PC version instead, that regularly goes on sale for an even lower price if you're willing to wait until that happens. Every Friday, I look at a game that was ignored when it was released or has been forgotten since. A game that people just haven't played for whatever reason. A game that deserves attention more than it got, at least. If you like that idea, be sure to subscribe so you can catch the latest videos. If you like this video in particular, be sure to hit that like button and leave me a comment below with any sort of games you think people have missed. Finally, thanks for watching this video, and I hope to see you next week.